Does America know about aliens? Does it have proof about alien UFOs? And is it hiding that proof? I ask because a sensational claim is making waves. Listen to this.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine.
UFOs are real, he says, and no, this is not from a Hollywood film. This happened in the US Congress. This claim was made by a group of lawmakers. They were told that America knows about aliens, although, as you heard, he used a different term, non-human beings, also unidentified aerial phenomena. Trust Americans to be dramatic. They're talking about aliens and UFOs. And who are these speakers? Former members of the US defense establishment. They worked for the Pentagon. Some flew military planes, others analyzed intelligence. This week, they appeared before American lawmakers from both parties. They're conducting hearings, apparently to find out the truth about aliens. So they've summoned witnesses, and these proceedings have attracted global interest for obvious reasons. We heard the testimonies, they're extraordinary. Take, for example, the testimony of a man called Ryan Graves. He's a former American Navy pilot. He told lawmakers about a training session. No dates were mentioned, but here's how the story goes. 2 F-18 Super Hornets were in the air. They were flying in formation. Suddenly, a UFO appeared. And what happened next? Why don't you hear it from the horse's mouth?
2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter. The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned to base.
He says UAP, that's unidentified anomalous phenomenon, what's more commonly called a UFO, unidentified flying object. So what happened after the pilots returned? Graves told American lawmakers that a safety report was submitted, and that's the last that he heard of it. He doesn't know if any action was taken on that report. But this is just one story. Apparently, there were more encounters and more mysterious events. Our next account is from a man called David Fravor. He's a retired US Navy commander. He too delivered a testimony. Fravor was once flying an F-18 jet, and he noticed something strange.
As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All 4 of us, because we were in F-18Fs, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down a small, saw a white Tic Tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball.
A small white object moving over the water like a ping pong ball, he says. At the risk of sounding repetitive, let me remind you, this is not from a movie. All these testimonies happen in real life, and we saved the most sensational one for the last. The third witness, his name is David Grush. He's a former intelligence official. He worked in the US Defense Department, that's their defense ministry. And what did he do there? He was on a task force about UFOs, so perhaps he knows better than all the others. And what did Grush say? He said America has had long-standing covert programs. Some date back to the 1930s. And he then went on to talk about aliens. He told lawmakers that the US government has some materials. They are of, quote-unquote, non-human origin, and they were taken from some crash sites. Listen to this.
Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? And if so, when do you think this first occurred?
I like to use the term non-human. I don't like to denote origin. Keeps the aperture open, both scientifically. Right. Certainly, like I've discussed publicly previously, 1930s.
Again, this is on-record testimony, and Grush had more to say. He spoke about a reverse engineering program where crashed vehicles were tested. I have that statement with me. Listen to this. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program to which I was denied access. So he did not see it for himself, but he claims the program did exist. And this is quite a claim. The Pentagon has been quick to rubbish it. They have, in fact, released a rebuttal. Let me quote from it. The Defense Department task force does not have any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. In other words, the Pentagon says it does not know anything. But convincing the skeptics will be hard. Aliens and UFOs still sound like a far-fetched idea. And look at the careful choice of words. Non-human doesn't really mean alien. It could even be a plant or a sample of something else maybe. So there is still little tangible evidence except for videos like this one. These are unclassified videos. They were part of a US intelligence report.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at it fly. Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro. Nickel 6-1 Tango Logic. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at it fly.
So what are those flying objects? The US government said they do not know. In 2021, they released a report. It said there are no extraterrestrial links to these objects. So there is simply too little information to make a decision. But American lawmakers were not satisfied. They saw this as a cover-up, so they called for these hearings, and it has stirred up the hornet's nest again. Do aliens exist? Honestly, we don't know. And if you ask me, there are far bigger and more urgent questions that we need to answer first.